this is the Ramesseum, the mortuary temple of Ramses II. And as we pass to go towards the temple, on the left here we have his palace where he would have lived with Nefertari. Am I correct?
Yes.
That it was Queen Nefertari?
Yeah.
She was writing letters
Yes.
to the Hittites
Yes.
at Kadesh and trying to make friends, and she is the one who told Ramses
To marry.
marry the princess and make peace. It was Nefertari.
Yes, Nefertari.
Very clever woman.
Very clever woman, and I think it is the first peace treaty between two
In the
nations
world.
in the world.
Because of Nefertari.
Yeah. Yes, I know your favorite is Nefertari, and also the political marriage, to marry from women from another nation to make a peace treaty. It is some ingenious idea.
Yeah. Behind me now is the original entrance to the mortuary temple, and this is how you would have gone through, and this would have been for Ramses' afterlife. Not his present day, but to worship him after he died as a god. And you can clearly see his name, Ramses.
Yeah. Wisr Ma'at Ra, Sitib in Ra. Sarah. Sarah.
Ramses. The Persians came to Egypt and they obviously destroyed quite a lot.
Yes.
They were jealous of the Egyptians. Because of their great civilization, they were jealous.
They are jealous because the ancient Egyptians, they made a lot of achievements, and they had like heating inside or envy inside.
Yeah.
So when they occupied Egypt, they were very mad from the ancient Egyptian civilization.
Yes.
They heard about this statue which is located in the West Bank. They asked, where is the monuments here?
And they came to destroy it.
They couldn't. What they do, they made a huge fire for 2 weeks.
To make a crack, yeah.
To make a crack only, and after that they wrapped the statue with the huge ropes and hundreds of men
And pulled his head down.
Yes.
It takes a lot more than a couple of men and some fire to destroy Ramses' monuments. A solid granite bust of Ramses II. And this head should have been on that statue over there, but it was destroyed by the Persians and found here. What's amazing is that you can still see the red and the yellow stripes here on the Nemes headdress. As you walk up, we have these 4 massive statues of Ramses II in the shape of Osiris, the god of the afterlife, the god of the underworld. I actually feel very sad for Ramses II. He lived until about the age of 96. And, you know, after Nefertari's death, he became very depressed. He took on more religious roles. He didn't want to do battle anymore. He felt very defeated and almost like a gap was missing after Nefertari died. You can see a depiction of his wife, Nefertari. She's holding the 2 instruments summoning the goddess Hathor, the goddess of love. There's a possible link between Nefertari and Pharaoh I. We presume they might have been family because of a walking stick found in Nefertari's tomb bearing the name of I.
You can notice all the pigeons that have made this their home, but a beautiful thing to look at is still the blue and the green on the ceilings of these enormous pylons, the columns going up. The colors are just still so bright. You can imagine what this would have looked like. It would have been colorful, blue and green and red everywhere.
Ramses is running over the enemy. He's actually trampling over the enemies. And he's up there with his bow and his arrow and killing the people of Kadesh. He was extremely proud about the Battle of Kadesh against the Hittites, and Ramses recorded this battle on almost every temple wall that he built. His 13th son, Merenptah, became the next pharaoh. Ramses, during the later stages of his reign, he sent out his sons to do the battle because after Nefertari died, he just felt that he couldn't go on, and it almost must have been like a curse that he lived so long, as almost all of his children would die before him and he outlived them, as the average age was only around 30 to 40. What we're seeing here is Ramses I writing his name, handing it over to Ramses II, handing over his royal name. And over here we have Thoth and Sesat, and Thoth being the god of writing, Sesat his consort, and Sesat also being the goddess of astrology.
This is the original pathway that was here a long time ago. And this side we have all of the kitchens and everything where they would prepare food and take care of the priests, and also Ramses and his wife and his other wives over there in the palace. And this is where they did all the cooking. It's absolutely incredible. You can see in here, you can see an oven, you can see where an ancient style fridge. This was like the servants' area where they would prepare things for the king for his everyday life, and also for the priests, because the priests were very important. So they would make the fire here, and on top they would cook their food, their bread, everything on this slab. So this is the real part of living in ancient times. In these holes here, they would dig it into the ground, and they would put the drink, the water, the wine, and the beer in here, because as soon as you go below ground, everything remains cooler. That was like the smaller fridge, and this was the bigger fridge to keep maybe meat,
Yes.
and fresh vegetables and things safe from the sun and keep it cool. So this would have 2 wooden doors.
Even Ramses the Great could not escape death.
Although Anubis is very well liked today in modern times by people who've watched movies like The Mummy and that kind of stuff, he was very celebrated back then, but they didn't really make huge monuments to Anubis. They didn't make statues. And behind me is Anubis in the form of a sphinx, and that is actually the biggest statue of Anubis that we have in Egypt today. That is it right there. And on the chin, Ramses II. These are the granaries that we're looking at right now, where they would store all of the grain inside. And at the end of the work week, the workers who were building the temples, also the priests and everyone, would come here, and they would come with their little piece of papyrus, and the granary keeper would come and tick off that they've received their money. They got paid in food.
Yes.
It's so cool in here.
Yes, so cool.
Yeah. So this would have kept the grain fresh.
Yes.
Yeah. And there was also, I think in the time of Ramses III, there was a strike that happened where the workers were not getting paid and they refused to work. And they came to these granaries and they looted them and took all the grain out because they wanted to get their money.
Yes, that's right.
What you're noticing here is these are arches. Not a Roman arch, an Egyptian arch. About 2,000 years before the Romans invented the arch, the Egyptians were doing it.